So this offseason, one of the bigger trades in Packers history went down with Davante Adams being traded away from the Packers to the Las Vegas Raiders for a first and second round pick. And all offseason, we were debating what are the Packers going to do? How are they going to fill Davante Adams' shoes? How are the Raiders going to look? Lots of these different questions. And now we have a little bit of information about how these teams are looking now 3 weeks into the season. Of course, we can't judge the entire, each team completely yet. It's only 3 games. Things can change for each squad. But I want to look at this trade for both sides right now after the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. So the Raiders clearly making this move. They are willing to trade, a first-round pick, a second-round pick for some more certainty in Davante Adams and one of the best wide receivers in football. So far for the Raiders, they are sitting at 0-3 currently. So I think their hopes of bringing in Davante Adams, bringing in an elite receiver, they thought to themselves, okay, if we bring in an elite receiver who has history with Derek Carr, they already have that connection, this will probably lead this Raiders team to becoming, that much better. And so far, that just has not been the case overall when you look at the win-loss record. However, when you look at their scoring offense, they're still, playing pretty well overall in offense when it comes to scoring. They're the 10th best scoring offense in the NFL, averaging about 21.3 points per game. If we compare that to last season, how well they're playing overall, last year the Raiders were the 18th best scoring offense in the NFL. So they're a little better when it comes to rank, but they're scoring around the same amount of points. They scored 21.8 last year. So far, they're scoring 21.3. So adding Davante Adams to this offense hasn't greatly increased their production when it comes to scoring overall on offense. And I want to take a look here at the Raiders and their receiver situation. So right now, Davante Adams isn't even the leading receiver here when it comes to yards. So Mac Hollins has the most yards at 240. Davante has 17 receptions, 189, most of which came in week 1 where he had 140 receiving yards the past 2 weeks. If we look at Davante Adams' stats, he only had 2 receptions for 12 yards on the 18th, and then 5 receptions for 36 yards versus the Titans last week. So Davante is still getting targeted a ton. As you can see, he is the leading receiver when it comes to being targeted by Derek Carr with 34, and then Darren Waller, 151 yards, not too far from Davante. Hunter Renfrow, 10 receptions and 16 targets. So I think the thing is with the Raiders that they have so many other talented receiver talent, from Mac Hollins playing really well, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow getting targeted. Where last year with the Packers, Davante was pretty much the guy getting majority of the looks overall. He still is in, Las Vegas with the Raiders. But last year, I think the Packers were even more reliant with Davante Adams. So now when we look at the Packers offense, I was wondering if, with Davante Adams leading, we had that stat that I talked about, that lots of other people talked about as well, that in the past, without Davante Adams, in the 7 games without him in Green Bay, the Packers averaged like 32 points per game. So I was thinking, okay, maybe if, we spread the ball around more, people don't really know what's coming. Davante's not there. And when Davante was here, Rodgers was targeting him pretty much regardless, and they still couldn't stop him. But so far, it has not worked out great when we compare the Packers offense last year to this year. So last year, the Packers had the 10th best scoring offense in the NFL, averaging 25.6 points per game. So far, through 3 games, the Packers are the 27th ranked scoring offense, averaging only 16 points per game. So far, averaging around 9 points less per game than we were last year with Davante Adams. So I do think this Packers offense is struggling right now without Davante as compared to last year. I think that this could improve as the season goes by, as these young receivers build a chemistry with Rodgers. We already saw last week with Sammy Watkins out, Romeo Doubs coming in and really, I think, building that chemistry with Rodgers and starting to prove himself, to Aaron Rodgers being targeted 8 times, pretty much catching almost everything thrown his way. And so I do think this offense can improve, but I think there's no doubt that the Packers offense was better with Davante Adams here. When you have an elite receiver who, even when he's getting doubled, can still make things happen, clearly the Packers offense was playing a lot better with Davante. But the thing is with this trade overall, if we sort of grade this trade so far, which I think it's still too soon to grade, but we have a little bit of information, we can't just look at, the loss of Davante Adams for the Packers offense. Clearly that hurts a little bit. But when we look at what the Packers were able to do by trading Davante, drafting Quay Walker with the draft pick they got from the Raiders in round 1, and then the second round pick we got from the Raiders, pairing that with our other second round pick to move up and draft Christian Watson. So basically, the Davante trade, in a way, got us Quay Walker and partly Christian Watson. And then with that $20 million we freed up, we were able to keep Rasul Douglas and Devondre Campbell. So we basically decided to take, all of our eggs that were in Davante Adams and sort of spread them out a little bit around this team, adding this, allowing this defense to stay at an elite level, and then investing in some youth on the defensive side of the ball, as well as the offensive side of the ball. So far, this Packers defense is the 6th best scoring defense in the NFL. So Davante Adams being traded has allowed this Packers defense to stay at the top by keeping Rasul Douglas, Devondre Campbell, having Quay Walker there on the inside as well. And I think when we look at this trade, it's going to pay a lot of dividends for the next, 2, 3, 4 years for the Packers because we were able to, bring in Quay Walker, Christian Watson, who I think as time goes by are going to develop and grow and become better players year 2, year 3. So I really think overall the Packers have won this trade when you just look at all the talent the Packers were able to draft, and then you also look at the other pieces the Packers were able to keep. Clearly, this Packers offense has not been as dominant as they were last year with Davante Adams. But I think so far we've seen the defense sort of pick things up. The special teams with the additions here pick things up as well. So I think that probably for the Raiders and the Packers, you would have to think that there could be some more growing pains for both sides. The Raiders getting used to having Davante there. We'll see if they improve. I don't think Davante's going to keep having, 36 yards, 12 yards. I think that they're going to get things figured out as time goes by, but anytime something new is happening, it's going to take some time for the team to figure things out. So I feel like the Raiders will figure things out, but 0-3, not a great start. The Packers, on the other hand, I think that, as I said, as the season goes by, as Dobbs continues to grow that chemistry with Rodgers, I think they will hopefully be able to improve from 27th, because even though our defense is getting things done right now, there's probably going to come a game where the defense doesn't play elite and the Packers offense has to move the ball. So we need to be ready for that when that does come, and I feel like the Packers will probably get better than 27th, I would assume, with Aaron Rodgers on this team, with the young guys improving. But so far, I do think the Packers have been winners of this trade, and I think going forward in the future, as we look at the young players here, what they're going to contribute as time goes by. Overall, I think this could lead to a better Packers team, even though right now the offense has struggled a little bit more without Davante Adams. But feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, your thoughts on this trade, whether you're a Raiders fan, whether you're a Packers fan. But it's definitely too soon to judge it completely. It's only been 3 games, so we'll see how this plays out for the next couple of years. But that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more Packers content, and I'll see you guys next time.